All right, guys, in this video, I'm bringing on my good friend Joe, otherwise known as Pixie. He is a full-time NASDAQ trader at only 19 years old. So super insane stuff. In this video, I brought him on to ask him a few questions. Make sure to watch this video until the end. There's a lot of sauce in there. Without further ado, let's jump into the video. All right, so you're 19 years old. You're a full-time trader. How did you get into trading? Like, what's your background? Because your background's pretty insane.
So originally, I graduated high school, and I knew that school wasn't for me because I just didn't get like getting bossed around and all that. So I then proceeded to start a business with an application called PrizePicks, which is basically just sports gambling, where I promoted it to close friends and all that, and then I ended up expanding and scaling up with it, where people would join my Discord, and I'd basically just give them like the same picks that I'm doing for the night, and they would pay me $100 a month based off of that, and that did pretty well. But then it got banned in Florida, which is where I live, and I ended up trying out drop shipping, which was terrible.
Like everyone.
And then I saw one of my friends post, drop shipping is terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, terrible.
And then I saw one of my friends post something about him making $1,000. I got interested. I was a very big gamer back in the day, so I saw trading as kind of like a video game with like all the colors and all that. And I ended up getting into that, and then I just kind of stuck to it.
Dude, it's funny you say that because like all of the top traders I know played video games religiously. Like
I feel like video games and trading is like the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
So, okay, so you did the PrizePicks. That was when you were still in high school, right? Like sophomore, junior year in high school?
That was senior year.
Senior year high school. Okay. So how long have you been actively trading for?
Actively trading since February of 2024, like the end of February.
Right. So like people will hear that and be like, no way this guy's profitable because he's only been trading for a year. But like I've seen your results and like I've seen the payouts. Like you trade on live accounts, like you're legit. The odds of someone doing that are very, very low.
Very slim.
Like very slim, slim to none. Like
I grew up in a business family. I did the whole trading or gambling thing when I was young, so my psychology was good from there. I wanted to be a therapist when I was younger. So it's very rare that someone has the same path as I do and become profitable in like 7 months, 6 months.
Right. So how important do you think the gambling side of things was for your psychology and trading?
I feel like when it comes to that, it was low-key like everything, because you got to think about it this way. I had minimum like 70 people copying my exact gamble for the night, and I had to focus on me losing thousands that night, plus everybody else that follows me being on my ass if they lose too. Right. So it's very hard on your mental health. And I feel like that translated onto trading, because then it's like when I saw the money going up and down in the middle of a trade, even though I was new, I didn't really care too much about it because I was already used to seeing that when I was gambling.
Right. So how important do you think psychology as a whole is for trading? Because a lot of people think, oh, I need to trade using this strategy, or I need to use this risk to reward. But really, it doesn't matter because there's multiple ways that someone could become a profitable trader, right?
For example, me personally, I have a lower win percentage. So like, for example, this month I'm averaging like around the 45, 50. Last month I averaged around the 65. But I have a minimum of like a 1 to 2.3. So that's the type of trader that I am. You can do another strategy where you have terrible risk to reward, but you have like a 95% win rate. So obviously it matches out like that too. I feel like strategy is obviously important because you have to find the strategy that fits you. So if you're a guy that hates losing, you have to find a good strategy with a high win rate. And if you're somebody like me that doesn't really care, you just like to have like those big plays, then you find a strategy like mine. But psychology is basically the whole thing, because it doesn't matter what strategy you trade at the end of the day. If you have terrible psychology, you're not going to be able to hold to your TP. You're not going to want to get stopped out, so you're going to move your stop loss and lose more than what you intended to risk on originally. You're going to tilt and you're going to revenge trade. You're going to trade on days that you shouldn't. Like, we'll have the futures market open, but stock market's closed. And you'll have people that want to make profits because they lost yesterday. Now they're trading on a bank holiday, which makes no sense, because I've seen that happen. It makes no sense. So psychology is probably like 85% of trading, basically.
Right. So speaking of strategy, tell everyone what your main strategy is at this point.
So I don't call it a strategy. I call it more of a system.
Sure.
So my system is basically I mark out previous day high and low. I mark out pre-market high and low. And then I wait for the first 5 minutes of market open and I mark out the high and low of that range. I just simply wait for a break out of either high or low. No bias. I always go into the market with a thesis, because when people say bias, they marry their bias too much. So let's say I marry my bias and I want to go short the whole day, but I get an A+ long setup. I'm not going to be able to take it because my bias is short. So since I always say thesis, it allows me to switch up intraday depending on what happens, right? Because obviously the higher time can look bearish, but then we end up just being bullish the whole day. It happens. You simply wait for a break of either side, and then you want to see good displacement, so you don't want to see like no instant retest. You want to see good displacement, and then you want to see a return to that same key level with good price action. So either very strong price action if you want to go long, or very weak price action if you want to go short, and then just enter your trade there, stop loss, take profit, let it do its thing.
Right, so you trade the opening range breakout, ORB, pretty popular strategy, but most people use the 15-minute candle. You use the first 5-minute candle, which is interesting, and you wait for a retest as well, which is kind of similar to my strategy. Even though I trade in a higher time frame, I like to trade the breakout and retest. But it's interesting that you pretty much do the same thing, just on a lower time frame during one certain level, and that's the 5-minute range.
Yeah, you kind of swing trade it. I kind of just like scalp it.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. What's one piece of advice that you would give to a beginner trader, maybe someone that just turned profitable or someone that's not even profitable yet? What's one
The
piece of
main advice that I would give somebody, which is the same advice that my mom and dad gave me growing up, is stop focusing on the end goal so much and make the process fun, right? If you are on a journey to, let's say, become profitable, since we're talking about trading, instead of focusing so much of, I want to move in with other traders, I want to be a millionaire, I want to retire my family, whatever it is, whatever your end goal might be with this, right? Even if it's just to make it a side hobby, stop focusing so much on that. Instead, focus on the process. So once I started focusing on the process, which wasn't even too hard for me because, like we said earlier, my whole like backstory and all that, once I started focusing on the process, it actually made it fun. So instead of just wanting to learn the strategy and get straight into it, I wanted to figure out, how does this strategy work for me? Because the guy that I learned my strategy off of, I trade it very differently than how he does. And that's because I put countless hours into backtesting, which I recommend everybody watching this does, because I feel like backtesting allows you to use the same strategy, let's say I use, but you turn it into your own specific way that works for you specifically. Because the guy that I learned it from, he doesn't wait for displacement. He'll take an instant retest. For me personally, that doesn't work.
That
but
doesn't
the
work
main
for me
advice
either.
that I would
never
give,
look for instant retest because 80% of the time it's just a sweep, and you need to see that displacement.
Exactly. That's how I think of it. That's how it's worked for me. But for some people, it works. So it is what it is, right? But the main advice that I would give is just enjoy the process, man. Because once you actually make it, you look back at it and you're like, oh, but I need to fix little holes that I left around throughout the way. Instead, you can just fix them while you're going. Focus on the actual process and making it fun instead of rushing it.
Okay, so talk a little bit about your journey to profitability over the past year, or like the first 5 to 6 months when you were trying to become profitable, of how like you literally locked yourself in a room for like 12 hours a day, right? For months.
So I used to be big into fitness. I played basketball like basically my entire high school career. And then I found out about trading. And I know that when it comes to building any business, whether it's insurance, anything, you always have to just basically put your head down, lock in, and grind it, right? You can't expect to become a millionaire in 5 years on a business when you're not putting any effort into it, right? You can't do that. So I decided that since I was 18 at the time, I was like, I want to be a millionaire by 21. Because 21, you're still super young. And now I have all this freedom in the world and all these connections, and it's great, right? And then I can enjoy the rest of my life without having to worry about working. So I was very big into fitness. And then February of last year, I found out about trading. And I locked myself in a room basically for like 10 hours a day, back testing, trading. And keep in mind, I didn't start with paper trading. I started straight off like prop firms. I didn't do any demo, any of that. I did straight prop firms. So I was losing my own money like constantly. I would reset maybe 2 or 3 times a week. It was getting bad. But that's how I saw that as like I gotta teach myself, because if I'm paper trading, I feel like you're not gonna be able to build discipline because you know the money isn't real. But if you see the money slowly getting taken out of your bank account, you're like, okay, hold on, I gotta stop messing around. This is real money. Like I'm losing my money doing this. And keep in mind, I've never had a job, like I had told you earlier. So I basically locked myself in a room, gained a whole bunch of weight, did everything. But at the end of the day, that cannot get fixed afterwards. The only reason I became profitable in 6 months is because of the whole gambling business that I told you about. But let's say nobody's done that before. The only way to become profitable quick is to lock in, stop messing around, stop FOMOing. Think about it this way. You have to trade like if you're a robot. You lose, no emotion. You walk away, on to tomorrow. You win, there should also be no emotions. You walk away, on to tomorrow. That's it. Because if you win a week straight, that doesn't mean you're profitable.
Right.
If you lose a week straight, that doesn't mean you're a shitty trader. You just got to think about it like that. Think about it long term. You're not going to make a career out of 5 days, but you'll make a career out of 10 years. You just got to think about it like that.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought up the losses part, because you even mentioned last month you had about 45-50% win rate, right? So how can people get over that psychological barrier of they might lose 3-4 trades in a row, right? Like that's going to happen eventually. But because of the risk to reward, if you stick with the system long enough, you're going to be profitable, right? But how can traders, especially new traders, get over that hump? Because they'll see 3 losing trades in a row, and that's when they want to FOMO in. That's when they want to double down revenge trade and end up blowing their account. So how do they get over that barrier?
I don't even think that's about getting over a barrier. I think that's just being able to build discipline. So if you can build discipline outside of trading, I feel like it'll be a lot easier for you to build discipline inside of trading because it's only a small portion of your life. It should only be an hour and a half of your morning. Right. Some people get into trading to get the freedom, but then they'll trade until market close. For that, you just go work a 9 to 5, right? I feel like that's just pure discipline. Like if you've lost, let's say how I did at the beginning of this month, which now I've turned around, which is why you never want to get in a bad headspace. Let's say the beginning of this month, I took like 4 losing trades in a row or 3 losing trades in a row. I'm not going to look at myself and say, hey, I'm a shitty trader, right? Instead, I'll just say, all right, so far, with this whole Trump thing, everything's going crazy. Let me either lower my risk, so I'll go in half size, or let me just not take a trade and relax and, like clear my head. Or since I'm already profitable and have the discipline and all that, I can personally just say, all right, I've lost 3 times in a row. That does not make me a shitty trader. That does not mean all of a sudden I'm unprofitable. I just got to keep it going and keep my discipline, because the second you start tilting, once you blow your account, whether it's live, funded, whatever it is, you will then sit down and look at your monitor, because it's happened to me, and be like, all right, why the fuck did I do that? I had no reason to keep revenge trading, because the problem that I ran into when I first started trading was I would tell myself, I know I shouldn't do it, but then I do it anyways. Right. That was the main problem. You just gotta, if you have to, shut off your laptop or your computer and just go for a run, go to the gym, go do something active. But I wouldn't even say that's like a bad headspace. That's just, I think you just have to build discipline when it comes to that.
Right. So in terms of building discipline, because this is what I tell my members as well, I'll say, if you enter a position, just close your laptop and walk away. And I know you do something similar to where even though you're trading for a shorter amount of time, usually like an hour, hour and a half, you're not actively watching the charts that whole time. So maybe talk about your process on setting the alert for the breakout, and then you say, well, you do something else for like 30 minutes till you get the alert, and then you enter the trade if it follows your rules, right? But you're not sitting there actively monitoring it.
No. Yeah. So something that I told specifically one student of mine that I do trade with, he has a problem of when it's a bigger candle or whatever, he's micromanaging it so much that he'll make so many random noises. It's so weird. He'll make so many random noises when he sees a big candle or whatever, because he's so into it. What I do is I wait for a break. Let's say it broke the top of the 5-minute range, right? I'll set an alert on the 5-minute range, because I know that at the end of the day, it does not matter what price does. I am not going to take a trade if I don't see displacement, if I don't see a good retest, if I don't see good price action, if I don't see clear targets. So I know that I'm following my rules. So all I do is, so my question to like all the people that do this is, you looking at the chart and watching the candles, is what is that going to benefit you in, right? Unless you're, let's say, an ICT trader and you have to constantly be looking at the chart. If you're a trader like me or like yourself where you swing trade, you looking at the chart for 2 hours straight isn't going to make price do what you want it to do, right? So I just set an alert. And so I'm easier on myself. I just go for a walk. I do whatever it is that I'm going to do. When I get the alert, I'll come back, sit down. If I see the good price action, I'll get into the trade. I'll put my stop loss. I'll put my take profit. Now I know that I'm either going to lose or I'm either going to win. But everything that was in my control was done properly. So why would I get mad at myself if I lost? I did everything the way that I know that long term I'm going to be profitable. Right. And that also goes back to what I said earlier, which is backtesting. If you backtest enough, you will build this confidence where you're not going to be shaking and nervous while you're in a trade. Even if you accidentally over leverage, which has happened to me before, it's happened to me even this month, you're not going to get nervous, because you know that in your backtesting data over a long term, if you do this, this, and this, you're going to be profitable. So that's why I do that.
Right. So I like your approach too on building processes that are going to be long-term profitable, because the whole point of trading is to set yourself up for the long term. It's not a get rich quick. It's not like a cash grab. You want to be implementing systems that you can repeatedly use over time and become profitable, right? So I'm glad you mentioned that. Let me think. Anything else that you want to mention for the people listening right now?
Only thing I would want to mention is, it's nothing new. Like, we've already talked about it throughout this entire interview. But just, number one, don't quit. Because at the end of the day, the only way that you can fail at something, whether it's trading or whatever it is in life, is if you quit. Because at the end of the day, if you quit, yes, now you failed because you quit. If you don't quit, in my head, it is impossible for you to not understand something if you constantly keep doing it, right? Because how are you gonna sit down in front of your computer every single day, Monday through Friday, for 3 years straight, and still be confused about the same thing?
Right.
That in my head, I mean, you have to be an idiot because that makes no sense. So that's the first one. Second one, don't rush the process. Enjoy the process. Make friends along the way. Make connections along the way. Because then once you make it, those connections can help you make it even further. You never know. You never know how life is gonna like treat you, right? So don't rush the process. Don't tilt. Keep a clean headspace. Try to become disciplined outside of trading so that way you can become disciplined inside of trading. Enjoy the process, make it fun, and that's about it, man. I mean, trading is very straightforward. Just have no emotions and just do what you know you're supposed to do. And I promise you, once you do what you know you're supposed to do, the process is going to become a lot quicker.
Right.
Just stop messing around.
Words of wisdom right there. How you do one thing is how you do everything, right?
Basically, discipline outside of trading, discipline inside of trading, and you're good, bro.
Yeah. All right. And where can the people find you?
Joe Ortega with 2 A's at the end on Instagram, Pixie Trades on YouTube, and inside of the EzTrades Discord, where Monday through Friday I will be live at 9:25 Eastern time every single day.
Yeah, tap in, guys. If you guys want to learn from him directly, follow his trades for free, then tap into the EzTrades Discord. And thanks for coming on, Joe. Appreciate it.